Dear friends, welcome. What if the pain you are trying to escape is actually the doorway to peace? What if grief is not something to fix, but something that can dissolve you into something far greater? Today we are exploring a powerful story of transformation, how deep grief turned into grace through one of the simplest yet most profound teachings ever given. Grief is universal. Loss, heartbreak, uncertainty, it touches everyone. But very few teachings address grief at its root. Most try to comfort, distract, or explain it away. But there was one sage who approached it differently, not by solving grief, but by dissolving the one who suffers. This is the story of a grieving devotee who approached Ramana Maharshi, and what happened next reveals a truth that can completely shift how you experience pain. A woman once came to the ashram devastated by the loss of a loved one. Her sorrow was overwhelming. She had tried everything rituals, prayers, but nothing eased the heaviness in her heart. When she finally sat before Ramana Maharshi, she simply asked Bhagavan, how do I get rid of this grief? Now, most would expect words of comfort, perhaps reassurance that her loved one is in a better place. But what she received was something entirely different. Ramana Maharshi looked her quietly and asked, who is that grieves? At first, the question seemed almost insensitive. She had just lost someone dear, and here he was asking who is grieving. But he was not dismissing her pain, he was pointing her inward. She responded, I am grieving. Ramana Maharshi gently continued, who is this I? That was it. No long explanation, no emotional consolation, just a simple redirection. And something began to shift. Instead of focusing on the loss, her attention turned inward to the very sense of I that felt the pain. As she sat there silently observing, she noticed something subtle. The grief was there, but the I that claimed it began to feel less solid. Moments passed, then something remarkable happened. The intensity of her grief softened not because the loss was resolved, but because the one holding on to it was no longer so tightly defined. She later described it not as a relief but as a kind of spacious peace. This story reveals one of the core teachings of Ramana Maharshi. Grief does not exist independently, it depends on the sense of me who is suffering. When we say I am grieving, we assume that I is fixed, real, and unquestionable. But Ramana Maharshi invites us to investigate it. Who is this I? Is it the body, the thoughts, or the emotions? Or is it something deeper? Something that remains unchanged even as grief rises and falls. This is the practice of self inquiry, not analyzing the pain but tracing the experiencer. Because when you look closely, the I that claims ownership of grief begins to dissolve, and what remains is awareness itself, and awareness is untouched. This does not mean you stop feeling, it means you no longer imprisoned by what you feel. Next time grief arises, don't run from it, don't suppress it. Instead, gently ask who is experiencing this, not as a mental exercise but as a sincere inward turning. Let the question take you deeper, not toward answers, but towards silence. You may notice that the feeling is still there, but something in you is no longer entangled in it. That space is grace. Grief is powerful, but so is the truth of who you are. This story is not about escaping pain, it's about discovering a dimension within you that pain cannot touch. And in that discovery, grief does not need to be destroyed, it simply loses its hold. from grief to grace.
If this teaching resonated with you, like the video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe for more insights from Ramana Maharshi teachings as narrated by me, Krisha. Thank you for watching.